they're really going through life believing that they have a horse in the race and a dog in the fight, and that horse in the race or dog in the fight is some Democratic Party leader.
Illuminati is a thing you need to watch out for. They want to depopulate and slave us so much more. World domination, I'll get into that later. I'm hardcore, fierce and sexy. You're just a hater. You deserve the ridicule because you're an absolute zero. I'm the keeper of the chalice, a rock and roll hero. I'm not an idiot nobody listens to, because I'm not a failure in life like you. Let's talk about Bill Gates and the mark of the beast and the orgies in the streets at the Catholic feasts and Bill and Hillary's human trafficking ring. And George Soros got the money to pay for everything. Socialism is for losers, working for the devil, chumps that can't fight, they ain't on my level. It takes an evil one to try to debunk a doubter, so I'd rather die than stop talking about it. Watch out, watch out, watch out, watch out. Watch out for the Illuminati. Watch out, watch out, watch out, watch out. Watch out for the Illuminati. Watch out, watch out, watch out, watch out. Watch out for the Illuminati. Watch out for the Illuminati.
All right. Sitting back here in this leather chair that you put your dollar bills in and it's supposed to massage you or whatever. Feels a little weird and creepy for that, so I don't do that anymore, especially when there's massaging mechanisms in the seat. As soon as I felt that, I was like, whoa, okay, you keep my dollar or whatever. It was only $1 at the time. Now I see they raise it up to $5.50, and hell no, I'm not paying no $5.50 for that. But it's good to just sit here and chillax and talk to you nice folks. And let me just say, the woke cannot be reasoned with because they're just so woke. Just ask them. I mean, they're really going through life believing that they have a horse in the race and a dog in the fight, and that horse in the race or dog in the fight is some Democratic Party leader. And it doesn't matter who, whichever one is in fashion at the moment. People really want to rally behind Biden, who's, by the way, he has blown Gerald Ford's record of tripping on camera clean out of the water. I mean, what is this, the 7th time since he's been president that he's tripped and fell over something? I mean, I understand presidents have done that. Trump has even done it. They didn't catch Reagan doing it, but Bush has the distinction of being the only president to have a pair of shoes thrown at him. So this is why I would vote for Gene Simmons if he ran for president, because he'd have the distinction of being a presidential candidate first to ever have a pair of panties thrown at him. But Gene Simmons ain't running for president. Good for him. Just enjoy life as a rock and roller, or a retired rock and roller. And so, yeah, the woke is just too woke to be reasoned with. They're too woke to have any kind of dialogue. And really, you cannot have an intelligent dialogue. You cannot have a healthy debate with somebody who insists that anybody who leans anywhere to the right is some sort of Nazi. Meanwhile, over here in America, prior to the Polish invasion, support of Nazis was a bipartisan effort. you had members of Roosevelt's staff supporting the Nazis. You had a businessman turned senator by the name of Prescott Bush, a Republican who supported the Nazis. And this was the father of one of our presidents and the grandfather of another one of our presidents. The one constructive thing done in the years that George W. Bush was president was that I learned from him and his administration that the whole Democratic and Republican thing is a charade. And yes, once I learned that, post-Hurricane Katrina, he already got my 2 votes, and, yes, fooled me twice, shame on me for that, but never too late to learn, and I learned it was a charade, and a lot of my posts, a lot of my songs surrounded how these people were full-fledged members of the Illuminati, and they supported all kinds of secret societies, and how George H.W. lie in a coffin with a ribbon tied around his little tree there, confessing all his sexual fantasies and desires and past experiences so that they have something on him if he were to become president, which he eventually did, and he was a one-term, one-shot deal. But anyway, as I was saying, if you have people who are hell-bent on pushing the narrative that political leaders from the right, and only political leaders from the right, are Nazis, you can't have a dialogue with them. They already flush their validity down the toilet because they don't want to acknowledge that their guys were also from a camp that supported Adolf's boys over there. And that's history, that's fact, you could look that up. These are the same people who also bipartisanly took out another president of the United States, John F. Kennedy. You had Republicans and Democrats that I believe were involved with that. We have a presidential candidate related to said slain president who believes that in his heart of hearts. And if you were a Democrat that really wants change, you would put your vote towards that man. And I believe the country would be in a better place if you look at all the Democrats that are challenging Joe Biden for the presidency. And include Joe Biden himself, because he's obviously fighting with himself, struggling to get up off the floor. Your only hope in your party is Robert F. Kennedy Jr. It is what it is. And you guys are not going to support him. RFK Jr. is running for president. The son of Bobby Kennedy is running for president of the United States, and you guys are not going to support him. You guys are really going to go through life believing Joe Biden is this strong and benevolent leader, and he's going to bring about unity even though he made this divisive speech talking about this huge problem of white supremacy, how about big government being a big problem? How about the fact that not all militias are bad, and in fact the majority of militias run Nazis out of their town? And this is fact. The majority of militias run Nazis out of their town. They're not with that Nazi nonsense because that gives control to somebody else. And why support something that is a step in the direction of communism? Why be anti-communist and then support Nazism, which is a step in the direction of communism? And then you're gonna say, well, why are you wearing a cross? This is just some cool shit I picked up on St. Mark's Place. And since I don't have my crucifix with the depiction of the crucified Jesus on it, I use this as my surrogate. So when I make the sign of the cross when passing the church, instead of kissing that, I kiss this. That's all this is. That's what the meaning has to me. And its origins go back thousands of years, literally thousands of years. Back when Germany was called Prussia, and countries had kings, some of them still do, obviously, but back when it was commonplace for a country to have a king, the king of a country called Prussia, which later became Germany, awarded this Iron Cross to their most accomplished knights. And that's the history of that, right? Yes, it got jacked by the Nazis briefly, but it survived the stigma. Although there are some knuckleheads that associate this with Nazism, by large, it survived the stigma of Nazi association much better than the swastika did, which doesn't even have German origins. It has Indian origins and was a symbol of peace. Oh, the irony. Now, obviously, I'm not going to wear a swastika and say, oh, it's a symbol of peace, because I know better. You know, they've ruined Adolf Hitler after hijacking the Nazi Party, hijacked the swastika symbol, and ruined its image forever. And thus, you won't catch me wearing a damn swastika, because no one's going to look at it as the original Indian symbol of peace. They're going to look at it as a symbol of Nazi Germany. And they'd be more right to do that because of its long-time association with that now. Whereas this was claimed back by a lot of bikers who have had some Celtic and Germanic origins, and they claim this back, and this is a symbol a lot of bikers use. So so this I'm okay with. The swastika, no. So now that we got that out of the way, you cannot be anti-communist and support Nazis, because Nazis is a step towards communism. And you need to look at where the world is, the direction it's going in, and understand something. The concept of a world with no borders, no guns, no God, and no gold is wrong. Nations should be sovereign because it gives you options. You don't like the rules of Canada, you could go to the United States. You don't like the rules of the United States, you could hop on a plane, fly to Germany. You don't like the rules of Germany, you could go to Italy, Japan, England, Russia, if you want to go there. And to my understanding, the citizens, not subjects, the citizens of Russia are 50-50 in their opinion on Putin. There are some that despise him, and there are some who really love him and think he's doing a lot for Russia. That's their opinion. They're entitled to it. They're living in their country with that opinion. That's on them. I know this. I'm not pleased with my current, with who the press says is my current president, giving the store away. We were doing fine until they let that demented rabid dog into the White House, who is nobody's dog in the fight, I tell you. The only one on that whole ticket, the only one on that whole ticket, on that whole Democratic, in that whole race for the Democratic nomination for president, that will actually fight for the rights of citizens is Robert F. Kennedy Jr. I personally don't think DeSantis is ready to be president, but he'll make a better president than Biden, that's for sure. I believe Trump will make a better president than Biden because he actually was a better president than Biden, so why not put him back in there? The advantages DeSantis has over Trump is that he can serve 2 full terms, whereas since Trump already served a term, can only go in for 4 years. So the only way something like that could work is if Trump and DeSantis stop throwing mud at each other, have a legitimate, mature campaign, which I know it's hard for a guy like Trump to do, but let him win the presidency, let him have DeSantis as his running mate. So DeSantis has a couple of things on his side. The one thing, like I said, he could do 2 terms to Trump's 1. Youth on his side, he's got a lot of years ahead of himself. You got to figure this out. While they were questioning Joe Biden's cognitive behavior, he was the same age that Donald Trump is now. And it's something to think about. Trump is getting up there in age himself, and whether you want to believe that or not. He seems sharp. But there could also be physical ailments that come into play as well. So these are things to consider. And I wish he and DeSantis would stop slinging mud at each other. Another candidate to look at seriously, and I'm probably the only one that's going to say this. Another candidate to look at seriously is Tim Scott. Tim Scott is a liberal's worst nightmare. Tim Scott is a white liberal's worst nightmare because he is living proof that there aren't things systematically working against you just because of the color of your skin. He's a senator. He's a senator. You know, kind of like Barack Obama was before he became president. Would a Trump-Scott ticket work? I think it might, because Tim Scott, having been in the legislative branch for so many years, if you got to remember, he was a congressman for so many years before being elected senator. He's obviously shown in the short time that he's senator to be a better senator than Cory Booker. Cory Booker I liked as a mayor. As mayor of Newark, I'll give him that. He was a much better mayor than his predecessor. He was able to work out deals to get the Prue Center built, to have the Nets and Devils playing there. And I believe the Nets should have remained at the Prue Center. We didn't need a Barclays Center. We didn't need to tear down Freddie's bar and back room to create parking for the Barclays Center. Especially since you have, what do you have, like 10 train lines and 10 bus lines, plus the Long Island Railroad stopping right there. You know, it would have been a perfect go green campaign to not have a parking lot there at all, which would encourage people to take mass transit there. But they had to put a parking lot because all them rich folks need their limo rides to the Barclays Center, including Jay-Z, who, by the way, still does not have as much money in the bank as Donald Trump. There are people going through life that think Jay-Z has more money than Donald Trump. He does not. I'm not saying this because I have any stake in the matter of which one of these two have more money. But Donald Trump has more money in the bank than Jay-Z. Donald Trump has more liquid assets than Jay-Z. They both got hot wives that are about the same age, to my understanding. I think Beyonce might be a little bit younger than Melania Trump. But you also have to consider Jay-Z and Beyonce are very close in age, and you know, Donald Trump at his age was able to pull off that magnetic primal charm and reel in someone as good looking as Melania. And you know, it is what it is. And the point I'm saying is that you got to roll up your sleeves, get in there, and do what you got to do in your life. And you can't argue with people who believe that their dog in the fight, their horse in the race, is a Democratic Party leader. Because these are the same people. These are the same people who will write off a Democratic Party leader that they have a chance to put in the White House as some sort of tinfoil hat wearing kook. Just because he's not in bed with Big Pharma like all the others that are gunning for Biden's position from the left. You know, the supporters of the Democratic Party have a chance to put RFK Jr. in the White House, but they won't even help him get past the primary. I'm sure of it. They're not going to help him get past the primary because woke media CNN, woke media MSNBC, woke media Politico, woke media bankrupt Vice TV. They're all in bed together, and they're all going to spin this tired narrative of RFK Jr. being this tinfoil hat-wearing conspiracy theorist kook. And they really need to stop that, because people who think like that get into office, get positive results. Look at Trump, how low the employment rate went, how far your dollar went while he was president. This really happened while he was president. And then what's now being proven as fact that Anthony Fauci knew and cannot deny anymore, the Wuhan lab virus escaped the Wuhan lab and infected the world. And Anthony Fauci, who was part of that research, gone mad, tried denying it, flip-flopped on his story of the effectiveness of masks, and now can no longer deny the Wuhan lab virus escaped from a lab. And so many people who walked in the stores unmasked got shamed, humiliated, and even assaulted for no reason. Well, the reason behind it was because Anthony Fauci wanted to be in the limelight. And a lot of people from the Northeast supported him because he talked like a regular guy from the neighborhood, like a guy from Brooklyn, you know, because he was born and raised in Brooklyn, right? So when he tells you, you gotta wear your mask, you know, you gotta do these things. We gotta do these things here that help you. The only thing he was helping was his own pocket and helping people like Mario Cuomo put these severe lockdowns on New York State, helping people like Phil Murphy put lockdowns on the state of New Jersey, who, when asked by Tucker Carlson, by what authority did you have to nullify the Bill of Rights, he just chuckled back and said, oh, that's above my pay grade. We weren't thinking of the Bill of Rights when we did this. Expecting Tucker to just chuckle back. But Tucker looked at him seriously, like the white knight that he is, looked him right back in the eyes seriously and said, I can see that. So, you know, basically he helped Gretchen Whitmer put lockdowns down and then create false narratives of attempted kidnappings. Gavin Newsom, Ralph Northam, oh my God, all these woke governors that seized your freedom for your own good. because quote, infected with COVID, unquote, was the new buzzword for, quote, terrorist, unquote. Remember back in the day when we had a Republican leader that caused everybody to think of each other as a terrorist? Okay, so we had Democratic leaders, Democratic governors, making us all scared of each other, not knowing who's going to infect us with COVID. Same difference. I have yet to catch COVID. I hope not to be jinxing myself from that. I have yet to catch COVID. And I got this far without a single jab of their poisons. And there's my half an hour. Hope you enjoy this from Nice and Clean Laundromat on 86th Street in Bensonhurst. Respect God. Watch out for the Illuminati. Follow me everywhere on the interwebs. I'm on Rumble too now. And I also have a weekly half-hour broadcast. A weekly half-hour broadcast live from Twitter. MC Tutor Life Coach. Stay strong, keep kicking that slang.